Once upon a time, Survivor Series was as much a Thanksgiving tradition as awkward family arguments and that one relative who forgets to bring anything. This year, the former Turkey Day staple sliding right back where it belongs, Thanksgiving weekend. Yeah, the holiday that once gave us elimination tag team matches, face paint, and way too many roll-up pinfalls has returned to its spiritual home. I'm Senior Siete for Seven Wrestling, and let's take a look at this year's Survivor Series card and give you our 100% accurate-ish predictions. Now, before we get into this, we appreciate your support, so if you enjoy this content, please help us out, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, press the notification bell, and hype us up. Women's War Games match. All right, let's dive into it with our first of four matches. Wow. Shrinkflation hitting our match cards. All right, War Games matches are basically the wrestling equivalent of a sugar high. They're explosive, chaotic, total blast in the moment, and then gone from your memory before the crumbs even hit the floor. You get the rush of big dives, loud crashes, and someone inevitably wielding a kendo stick like a furious Catholic school nun with a ruler. It's all peaks, no pacing, a delicious rush of, did you really just jump off of that energy? But once the cage is lifted and everybody limps backstage, it fades fast. Fun? Absolutely. Memorable? Only until the next shiny, over-caffeinated spectacle comes along. For example, can you name who was in last year's Women's War Games match? Well, it was Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley against Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. Did you remember all that? Because I did not. I also don't remember what I had for breakfast. Try not to age, brothers. But all that aside, it's still fun as hell. This year on one side we have AJ Lee, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss squaring off against Becky Lynch, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend. Who's going to win? Does it even matter? I assume Rhea Ripley's team won last year, but to be honest, I'm not completely sure. Maybe these matches need more stakes. I always liked the 2004 Survivor Series when each member of the winning team got to be the Raw GM for an episode. Something, anything. Well, I'm just hoping for Io Sky to jump off of something in a creative manner, and hopefully they give Lash Legend a solid main event launch. As for the winner, I'll go with the good guys. That team is super stacked, no pun intended. How confident am I in this call? Not very. Let's give it a 4 out of 10. WWE Intercontinental title, John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio. Look, Dirty Dom's doing his thing. He's got swagger, the heel routine, and that glorious mullet. And I agree when people say that he has a ton of potential and can be the future of the business. That is, once he bulks up a little bit, I'm not going to go all Vincent Kennedy on you and say that you've got to be able to turn heads in an airport, pal. But Dominic's about as threatening as a wet kitten. That's why it isn't doing it for me that the WWE seems determined to have a majority of Cena's final matches be against him. As recently as this week, Mysterio admitted that getting 3 out of his last 4 matches with Cena is a huge blessing, and sure, the kid's reliable, he takes bumps, sells heat, talks trash on paper. There's something to like about that setup, but here's the rub. Cena is a legend winding down a Hall of Fame run. Mysterio may be the future, but for Cena's swan song, I want fireworks, I want a big name, a rebellious force, something that shouts, this is the end, not another Dirty Dom versus Cena Part 2. If you're going to send Cena off, do it with a bang, not with a rerun. And Dom's fine, but not when we're so close to the end. And that's all without bringing the Intercontinental title into the picture. Do they put it back on Dom? Is John Cena's last ever premium live event performance lying down to the dirty one? Probably. Maybe. Now, I know that fantasy booking is the worst, but one theory I heard and liked was that the Vision would somehow cost Cena the title and lay out a member of Team Rhodes, Reigns, Punk, preferably Jimmy Uso, and then Cena would step in to join that team. Is it crappy fantasy booking? Yeah, it's all crappy fantasy booking, but I'd much rather see Cena get a run inside the War Games cage than in another match against Dirty Dom. So I'll cross my fingers and hope that pipe dream comes true. So Dirty Dom for the win, as much as it hurts my soul to say that. Am I confident in this at all? No. Let's give it a 1 out of 10. WWE Women's title, Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella. If you were hoping Nikki Bella's big return to the WWE would be a triumphant comeback dripping in nostalgia and slow motion hair flips, well, bless your optimism. Instead, Nikki's been bouncing back into the company like a malfunctioning slingshot, awkward losses, uneven promos, and a fan reaction that can best be described as polite confusion. Don't worry, WWE finally remembered the golden rule of Bella booking. Nikki is terrible as a babyface and glorious as a heel. Now we've got her walking into the Survivor Series where she's slated to square off against the woman she turned against for reasons, Stephanie Vaquer, who, in contrast, has just had an amazing year. She's sharp, violent, and wrestling like she's making up for lost time. Nikki, meanwhile, has been wrestling like she's trying to catch up with this new era. But this new heel swagger, oh, that fits her like her custom ring gear. Suddenly, the smirks make sense, the trash talk lands, the crowd booing her isn't a problem. It's a feature. Nikki as a villain is like gravity, just works. Either way, her heel turn has turned her from why is she here into oh, she's fun again. So, will Survivor Series complete Nikki's redemption arc with a title win? I don't know. Usually, when someone turns during a title program, they get the belt. We literally just saw this with Jade Cargill against Tiffany Stratton. But Stephanie Vaquer just got the title like a month or two ago. But I could see them possibly pulling some twin magic to put the belt on Nikki, then have Vaquer go on to win it back at Mania. So I think I'm leaning Bella for this one, shockingly. I wouldn't have said that a month ago. How secure am I in this prediction? Not at all. Not even a little bit. Let's give this one a 2 out of 10. Men's War Games match. All right. Every men's War Games match since the stipulation made its main roster debut in 2022 has one thing in common. Can you guess what it is? If you said Jey Uso has been on every winning team, then you are correct. Yeet indeed. This year we've got Jey teaming up with his brother Big Jimmy, his cousin Roman Reigns, his bestie Cody Rhodes, and CM Punk against the Brawns, Drew McIntyre, Brock Lesnar, and Logan Paul. Wow, that's actually a really stacked match. But like I said earlier, I'd be cool if Big Jim exited stage left and John Cena made his debut inside the War Games cage. Also, wouldn't mind Cena getting some measure of revenge against Brock Lesnar after getting squished like a bug at WrestlePalooza. So, what's going to happen? Well, the air has definitely been taken out of the Raw side now that Seth Rollins is on the sidelines. Guessing the big question is, who will Punk be feuding with heading into the rest of the year? And the two choices that make the most sense on that team are Brock or Braun. I expect one of them to put on a big performance and win the whole thing to set up the next big world title feud. That is, unless if John Cena shows up, I could see them wanting to give him the big, happy pay-per-view ending. So if there's no Cena, I'm going with Vision. If Cena shows up, the good guys get the win. Wishy-washy? Yes, of course. Wow, I'm not really certain about any of these picks, and usually uncertainty is a good thing heading into these shows, but I think this just once again points out that there are no stakes in these War Games matches. It probably doesn't matter who wins. Well, there are my picks. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments section below. Also, if you'd like to see more of this content, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, press that notification bell, and hype it up. Hype it. Till next time, I'm Senor Siete here for 7 Wrestling saying bye-bye.